Good morning to everybody. Parshat Vayigash. I want to dedicate this this Dvar Torah, even though I didn't get permission, but to Ruth, the daughter of Nicole and Eduardo, who is celebrating her bat mitzvah this Shabbat in Yetz Hashem. So we dedicated it to her and to her family. I want to thank you, Eduardo, for mamash everything that you do for the shul, all your contribution to the shul. This video wouldn't be taking place if not for you editing it and for your suggestions concerning all the videos. So we want to wish you, on the behalf of the show, a lot of mazal tov for Ruth and for Bezrat Hashem, all your family, that you should not only know a lot of nachas and yishra nachas and a lot of simcha and joy. And in that vein, I'd like to say a Dvar Torah, which is it's a little bit connected to the blessings, but it should be mamash 100% blessings to you, Eduardo, and to Mikol and your family. The Torah tells us that a very strange incident of Yaakov meeting Paro. He comes to Paro, he's introduced to Paro, and Paro asks him also like a strange question. I mean, imagine two diplomats meeting for the first time, and they ask one another, how old are you? I mean, that's not very, you wouldn't expect that so much from world leaders. But that's what happens. Yaakov is presented by his son to Paro and introduced, and Paro then says to him, tell me, how old are you? So Yaakov says, I'm such and such, and he says, and he adds on, without being prompted, he adds on, and you know, my life has been, it's been very few. I haven't lived a long amount of years relatively to my ancestors, and my life was few, and they were ra'im. Ra'im means that they were evil. And the Gemara and the Midrashim, they all take Yaakov to task for using this word evil. It's the second time that actually he uses this word evil, and that is in the previous parasha, when the brothers come back the first time after meeting Paro, and you remember they came back and they tell them the whole saga and how Shimon's been arrested, and they're not allowed to come back unless they bring back Binyamin. And when they tell him relate to him exactly what happened, and so Yaakov says to them, Lama harotem oti, why did you deal evil with me to give this information to the king of Egypt, and in that way allow him to trump up charges against you? Why did you supply this information? So that's when he also used the word harotem. And there again, the Midrashim say, he shouldn't have used this word. He should have had a little bit more bitachon that somehow things are going to pan out, and this is all from Hashem. But to use the word ra, evil, that's a very harsh word concerning a person of the Madrega of Yaakov Avinu, that he's saying that these events orchestrated to a large degree by Kadosh Baruch Hu, that they are considered to be evil. Of course, Yaakov Avinu, he did have a very harsh life. There's no doubt about it. From the beginning of his birth, every single possible complication Yaakov had. Regarding his brother, regarding his family, regarding his wives, regarding his in-laws. Nothing was straight. So, you know, a person who has such a harsh life, what do we want him actually to say? Can't we not? Isn't it a little bit like being hypercritical on Yaakov when the Chazal say to him, why is he using such words? And the one of the explanations is, well, there's two explanations. One explanation that Yaakov, he himself corrected this matter, and we'll see it in a moment. But I want to start off with a more simple explanation, and that's an explanation from the book of Ruth. Remember that when Ruth comes back from when Naomi comes back together with Ruth from being in the country of Moab, she left Eretz Israel as a queen, and she from Beit Lechem she went to be in Moab. She lost everything basically. She lost her husband, her two children, and she comes back as a very poor woman, only with her daughter-in-law Ruth. So she comes back to Beit Lechem, and everyone is just aghast. It says over here in the Pasuk, towards the end of Pasuk of Perek Aleph, the first chapter, it says in verse number 19, I'll just read to you part of the verse. It says, Vatehom kol ha'ir alehem. The entire city was, mehuma means like a confusion, it was a stir when they saw Naomi. Vatomarna hazot Naomi. They looked at her face, how sullen it is. They looked how the type of clothes that she had. They remember her, what she was like before she left Beit Lechem. And they turned out, and she says, they couldn't hold back. They said, hazot Naomi. Is this the Naomi that we knew? Vatomar lehem, and she replied to them. She said to them, Al tikranu li Naomi. Don't call me Naomi. Naomi means the pleasant one, the beautiful one. Kre'eli mara. Call me the bitter one. Because Hashem has dealt very bitterly with me. I went full, and Hashem has brought me back to Eretz Israel empty. Lama tikra'ani Naomi. Why should you call me Naomi, the pleasant one, the beautiful one? Hashem Anabi. Hashem has testified against me. V'shadai herali. What we expected from Yaakov, we asked the question, what is wrong with saying the words Ra? He had a very, very bitter life. And so we said, okay, he should have had more bitachon. But now we answer just on a simple level. He doesn't have to now exclude the fact and say that he had a bitter life. He doesn't have to try and say that it wasn't bitter. But that's exactly the point. The point is he should have used the language like Naomi used, which is bitter and not evil. There's a big difference. A pill and a medicine can be bitter, but it's not evil. It's exactly the opposite. It is the example, and it is the paradigm of doing something good for someone. So that's what he should have said to Paro. You know what? My life was bitter. I had a harsh life. Mara, just like Naomi, but not to say the word hara. And now we come to the second point, and that is that Yaakov himself, what he did was he corrected this matter. And in next week's parasha, when he is now about to leave the world, and he gathers all his children to give them a bracha, and he first speaks to Yosef, and then afterwards to the rest of the tribes, and he says as follows. He uses, you see, this is the whole point of being sensitive to a text. He uses a word which is very similar to the word ra. But look at what he says. He says as follows. I'll just read to you the pasuk. I just want to quote to you the exact pasuk. He says like this. I'm sorry that I took time taking time. It is in verse number 16. Hamalach, we all sing this to the kids, and especially on Simchat Torah. Hamalach gotel, sorry, the pasuk before. Vayavarech et Yosef vayomar he blessed Yosef and he said to him, Elohim asher yitravchu avotai lefanai Abraham Yitzhak, the God who went before my fathers Abraham and Yitzhak, ha-Elohim haro'eh oti. Notice those words. Ha-malach haro'eh oti. The angel Hashem who ro'eh oti. What is the word ro'i? The word ro'eh is made up of the same words as ra'ah, evil, but it means, haro'eh means that who was a shepherd for me. Izmole David Hashem ro'i lo echsar. In other words, he understood, looking back now at his life, he saw that all the things, when the penny dropped, all the disguises were taken away. And he saw now how Hashem worked. He saw that it wasn't right. It was all that Hashem haro'eh, not with an a, but with an e. Hashem, who was a shepherd, the whole time he shepherded me and he led me on the way to Gan Eden. So that's what we learn about understanding words, even understanding our lives, their moments which are bitter. And that's how we refer to them, bitter, but never evil, because we always got Hashem, who's always a shepherd to us and is always leading us on a path to bring us to our righteousness. So Shabbat Shalom and Mazel Tov to the Bar Mitzvah girl, Ruth, and to all the family. Kol Tov.